Hi, everybody. I finally made it on time. Oh boy, how you doing, Geezer and Obud? In-house is in-house when a manufacturer makes everything of the movement themselves, including hairspring. Tony, good morning. Hi, Tony. Hi, Abdul. Hi, Dominic. How you doing? I'm relatively new to the group. Where's everyone from? I'm in Tennessee. I don't mean to be laughing. They say you're Tennessee. That means you're up really early. There's like we have another Tennessee guy who goes as Tennessee Mike. So, and we have a real good friend from Tennessee too, who's a professor at the University of Tennessee. So, Tennessee is very welcome here. Dominic's from Brooklyn. Cool. Hey, Bruce. Chris, how are you? GMT Master, Sean, how are you? Let's see. Anyone else getting an echo from Bill? Oh, hang on a second. It might be my fan. So let me go turn my fan off, okay? And that may be the echo. I don't know if that helped or not. Hi, Tim. Hi, Kelly. Clyde, how are you? Okay. Did the turning off the fan, did that help the echo? Hi, Kaz. Hey, Kaz, I want to thank you again for helping out on that on the Chopek video that I did today. Come to think about it. Hi, Javier. The topic came up for two reasons. One, I was looking at the material that's in that Chopek is that. Hi, Clyde. Hi, Raj. I was looking at the way in which, where their movements came from. I know that to some extent they were Vaucher and this, that, and the other thing, and they cooperated with all these other companies to create a Chopek movement. Now, one of the things that I did notice, and Chopek had a thing. The website that I looked at had a nice one. Just a total big list of thanks, guys. He's cooperated with us, and one was Autoculpa. Okay, and they make the hairsprings and balance wheels. And the balance, I looked at the balance that was made by just one balance that was made by Autoculpa, and then looked at the one that was on the Antarctica Chopek, I'll call it that. I forgot what it was called, Terra Adele or something like that. Anyway, so I was looking at that. It's the SHX5. I think that's the name of the movement. Anyway, of the Chopek movement. And I looked at the balance, and it was identical. Oh, that's good. Well, because that was what they said. Now, so this is what I got to thinking. Well, in-house and not in-house. I don't know. Is that it's sort of blurred lines now, because if it's sort of like, well, if you're making something and you put all of the pieces together, but you don't make all of the pieces yourself, that's one thing. If I go and we may buy a Vaucher or buy a UWD 33.2, or maybe even a Habring A11, and we buy one of those, we put it in, we don't claim that's in-house. I would never claim that. On the other hand, if we got a piece here and a piece there, and then we got some help on the design, and they use some of their facilities and so forth. And you sort of work collaboratively, and you produce something that's unlike other movements. Um, that's a little different, but I'm not sure how. And so I thought I'd kick it around with you guys. I know some say, well, that's not in-house. Others, well, pretty much. Others, like, they could care less. So anyway, I wanted to get your wisdom on that. Hi, Dr. A and B. How you doing? It's blurred line because of it's a marketing concept. Well, in one sense, it is, Clyde. Now, in another sense, it's like, what are you buying? All right. It is that the marketing concept from the point of view of the collector, as far as I'm concerned, that ought to be our marketing concept. The heck with them. What do they know? They're just selling watches. We're abusing them. And so I guess what I'm trying to get at is that if a company, I'm going to turn this guy off because this may be another, if that's another source of, I don't know what, I'm just not sure how we want to treat that. I think that if some company, let's say, they put together a movement, it's not very good. All right. It just, they use sort of off the wall, or not off the wall, but off the shelf ideas, and put something together that looks like, they learned a few tricks at WhatsApp, and, they read watchmaking. But it's like, and they even somehow made their own hairsprings. But it's just not that good. It's cheap. It's not, well finished. But it is in-house. And so I suppose maybe what we need to think about, and I think this is, I've always thought this, is that we have good movements and not so good movements. And if a company, like Chapek and even El Ara had, uses the Vaussure movement, that's a good movement. In fact, that's a very good movement. So I don't know. It's a matter of, and does it matter? That's another question. Okay, what did Blaine say? Movement is designed, engineered, and now owned by Chapek. Yeah. Some manufacturers think in-house is that it's all made by the same company, put together by the same company, and made and out together within the same conglomerate. Now, hi, Arthur. Hi, Blaine. Does in-house equal manufacture? Well, Blaine, you've got manufacturer, and then you have assemblers. You take companies like the old Jacquet SA or the Lajou Pereira, they're both assemblers, and they take, they'll take all these parts and put them together, and take an Bosch from something and put together a watch that has at least has a base for it. There are some exceptions to that, and that was the 736, and that's why, to me, it's so interesting. Conglomerate has definitely contributed hugely to blurring the lines. Yeah, I think, to me, there are two kinds of, when you say conglomerate. On the one hand, you have vertical organization or vertical structure, like you have with the Sandoz family, what's called their watchmaking center. Okay, they go from Parmigiani to Vaussure to Autopaca to Elwin to what else? And then they have this really cool name that I can't pronounce for their lab. Artisans Bouderies or something like that. And I apologize for my terrible pronunciation. Hi, Ines something. Hi, David. Hi, Orange Ham. Tony. Hi, Tony. Similar to clothing, off the rack versus made to measure. That's an interesting one. If you're going to talk about high horology or the same thing with haute couture. one is high horology and the other one is high fashion. That is very interesting. Like you can go down to, I don't know, I was going to say go down to Penny's. I don't even know if they're still in business, and buy something off the rack there that was copied from, an original design. I don't know. That's how come I thought it'd be something worth discussing with you guys. What about Patek Lemania? That's technically ETA. Well, okay, yeah. What about it? I agree. I was thinking the RDV 57 by Roger Duby is what? That's a Lemania something or other. I forgot which one it was. But yeah, I mean, and our more famous perhaps is the what is it? The Daytona with the movement by Zenith, the El Primero. So yeah, you have those things. See, there was, I guess, what in-house and not in-house represented. If something was not in-house, most of the view of that, well, they just went and bought a cheap ETA and put it in there. And now they're doing the same thing with Solita. And then what the worst part of it is they give it some phony baloney name, So we can do that. I mean, let's say we all got a UWD 33.2 and call it the GOAT 55. It doesn't. It's one of those things that we can do and not have to alter it a bit. Here's something else, though, that to me is more important. Recognizing that there are good and bad and not so, there's sort of different strata of movements. I think the thing to do, like, for example, if we got a Vaucher, I wouldn't want to take the Vaucher logo off of it. If I had a watch, and we put some dumb name on it, that we know we didn't do it. We know it's a Vaucher, and we know Vauchers make good movements. So why not leave the Vaucher movement on logo on there? I think that would be a lot more sense, and I think that the companies would be a lot more believable. Now, if you're working with different companies and you use some of their stuff, most notably their the hairspring and the balance, and the reason that's important, that will determine your frequency. Which one you pick will determine the frequencies, but that's hugely important. Okay, let's see what you guys have. All right, hi, Dwayne. Japanese always do it right, just like their cars. For instance, while I like in-house movements, I think we put too much emphasis on that. Some in-house movements are not finished or are well built. Yeah, I agree. Are built well, whatever. Yeah, I mean, what this really means is that that's a good one, Clyde. I like that. Chavez sink. You got me off my head again. Okay, in-house doesn't equate best. I'd rather have each part from the movement case to the spring made by the specialist. Yeah. Now, to me, Abdul, that makes sense to me too. It's really have some good stuff put together. This is why, I think in a way this is what we're doing. If we get a case that was designed originally by Marco Lang, and it's really a Marco Lang movement. And then we have a case by Voutilanen and Kalin. And then my guy down the street, down the highway, for the dial, an enamel dial. I don't know. I got a thing from the guys in Turkey who make these really amazing enamel glass things, including what they're looking to is to team up with a a case company and say, hey, how would like different shades of glass on your dial instead of having your clear sapphire. You could have a little tint, make it a little blue or a little orange or a little this or a little that. And I thought about it. What would be even cooler if you could switch them. The problem there would be waterproofing, but still, it's it's a possibility. Hi, Obed. Hello. In-house is in-house when you make your own hairspray. Boy, I tell you, you guys are tough. What a tough audience. Making your own hairspray, that's hard. You realize that most of the hairsprings for the independents are by either by H. Moser or by companies like Autoculpa, both of whom are part of two vertically organized organizations, Parmigiani and H. Moser. The same thing with Beauvais. Beauvais they make their own hairsprings, and I wonder if they market any of those. They're built in two things. One they call Beauvais 1822, and the other one is Demier 17 something or other. I forgot what it was, but I mean, you have that with. Same with Parmigiani. You have Parmigiani, and then you have Bachur with Moser. You have Moser, and then you have Precision Engineering. And then another interesting one with LVMH. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they have Les Temps something or other. They have their own movement making people who are very good, but they also have Zenith. They make very nice movements. So there are all kinds of things going on right now. I don't know. Okay, let's see what else you say. I think the key to define in-house is to know where the idea came from. If the architecture is product of in-house, thinking it is in-house. That's a good one, Geezer. I think it's still multiple levels of obfuscation. Of course, you got to have that. It's the watch business. Aki Riva is a great example, in-house movement, but he gets a few pieces he can't manufacture made elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. His prices are not inexpensive, and they're even. You take, well, it is that I don't know what would count as that. MB&F is now using Moser hairsprings. They've been using them for a while, Kaz. They're the only ones that admit it. But when a company like H. Moser is turning out like 2,000 watches a year and 100,000 hairsprings, somebody's getting them. Hey, Blaine, what's up? How would you classify Omega with coaxial escapement designed by, since that is the main selling point? Yeah, now that's a good point, Blaine. It really is. It was designed. They adopted it into their own movement, so it's their own movement. See, the trouble with Omega and with Blancpain and Breguet, they're all owned by Swatch. Now, according to them, and Clyde will tell us that we should believe everything they say. What they say is that, Blancpain took Frederic Piguet and made them their own special movement people. And when they bought Harry Winston, they said, they were going to get their movement from Blancpain. Breguet, we're told these are, I don't know where they come from. I mean, who makes Breguet movement? Well, Breguet, I guess they say Breguet, so they must be from Breguet. I don't know where they're from. I can tell you, I bet you the hairsprings are what do they call the ones that Navo something or other hairspring. That's just my guess. Okay, hey Dwayne, maybe like going to a wrecking crew and finding the best parts for a house. Yeah, that can be. That's a great example, Dwayne. I used to have a friend who would go to these old houses when they were tearing them down and get all of this really great wood and like these banisters and all kinds of things like that. And then he would work when somebody was building a house. He would work with the builder, and he would sell them all of these really neat parts the types of carving and so on and so forth that was from these old houses. Yeah, that's sort of, you could do the same thing as, go get an old Valjoux, center gear or something like that. Look at Omega's legendary 321 Moonwatch, I think. Boy, these spell checkers really get us. There was one for the Moonwatch, and then for the cow that jumped over it, you have the Moonwatch. Let's see. If a good watchmaker makes almost everything, but knows that someone else makes this or that better than he can, he buys a part. Fair play. I agree. That's a good point. You have if it would cost you a huge amount, for example, to make your own hairspray, and not a lot of companies do. Not very many at all make them. Moser, Parma. Well, see, but when I say Moser, I mean some arm of Moser. When I say Parmigiani, I know it's Otto Kalpa, but they're all owned part of a vertical organization. Okay. Matt, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Never rocks. Thank you. Fabrication of the movement in-house does not make it an in-house movement. Okay, Paddock making Lamania-based calibers or RP making JLC-based calibers do not make them in-house. Okay. Well, there's the term they use, and this is, and I like it better than in-house, is manufactured. Now, if you have something, let's say, that is Paddock manufactured, even though they're using some stuff, let's say Lamania as a base, they manufacture it. Now, it's not in-house design, but it is clearly in-house manufactured. So we would have, there's two things, really. There's design and then there's manufacture. You could take an old, let's say, brigade tradition. They take an old Abraham Brigade movement and sort of doll it up with, modern materials. Is that, well, I guess there would be a brigade in it, but I don't know. There are all kinds of possibilities. I think the complexity of it, I don't think it's a real simple yes or no kind of thing. And I certainly don't think that in-house means good and not in-house means bad. Not at all. I'd rather have a watch with an Agenor movement in it than just about any other one that anybody made. They're that good. The same thing, I feel the same way very much about the UWD 33.2. Get our mitts on that thing. They are expensive. But see, the thing of it is that they're not as expensive as a $27,000 watch, and they're not as ugly as the ones that are made in Munich. Hey, Tim, what's up? Everything has to be built by you to be in-house. Okay. Okay, in-house independent study watchmaking like Vianney Halder or Philippe Dufour. Moonwatch was Archie. Okay. Orange hand up. I think there should be degrees of in-house based on percentage of items not made by the same company. Now, that's an interesting way to look at it. Now, let's say this, okay? Let's say you take a company, we'll call it Baume Mercier, okay? because they use other people's stuff. And now suddenly they have a Ballmatic that is in-house because it's from Val Fleurier. All right, now let's just say this. Let's say that Ballmat Mercier doesn't want the Val Fleurier. They want to be one of the big guys and make their own movement. Okay, so they make a movement. They got all of the parts. They get it, and they find out that their hairsprings aren't quite that good. Okay, they work, but they're just not that good. So somebody says, "Look, this is crazy. Why don't we put if we put a Moser Strassmann in there, that thing would be great." So they try it out. It works like a charm. Now, here you have one part, and it's a crucial part that's not made by the manufacturer. To me, that's okay. I mean, it is a manufacturer, but it's sort of like dropping a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine into a P-51 to make it change it to this incredible airplane. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I've got, like I said, it's fairly complex. The big thing that comes down for the buyer and us are two things. One is the price, because they always charge you more for in-house, and two is the quality. If we get a good quality movement, who cares who made it? That's sort of one viewpoint. But if it's, let's say they take a COSC dolled up ETA, they put that in there and it works really well, but then they jack it up, several $1,000s, which they did pay extra for the ETA. It's those kinds of things I think that we need to know more about. And I think the thing I liked about Chopek listed at one point, I couldn't find it again, all of the companies that they worked with to do this and where they got the parts, where they got this. If they got the parts from, Joe's Junkyard, that's not very good. But they didn't, and they listed and they told us where they got it from. Concepto, the movement supplier, and La Chaux de Fonds also makes hairsprings. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Concepto. They may be perfectly fine. They certainly deserve close scrutiny. I wrote them about something and never heard back from them. This was before the quarantine, and I don't know. I know the watches that use their movements. I just don't know. Okay, maybe they make great stuff, and they're going to be sort of an upscale replacement for ETA. I just don't know yet. We need to learn more about that, and I'm glad you brought Concepto up, Bud. But they make their own hairsprings, huh? I didn't know that. I need to investigate that company. Oh yeah. Tag Heuer does too. See, I am slowly coming around to your opinion on the Breitling movement. It seems to be an open secret for most of them. So why won't? Yeah, that's all I got to do, Blaine. Same with IWC. Say, look, guys, these cost less because we don't have to make the movement, but we make sure that they're good ones. We get the COSC version and so forth. That would be all we wanted. And it's like, notice that the ones with those movements cost less, and they do. But I think what they might say is that maybe they ought to cost a lot less since you got them. And I thought that the email I got from Marie Harbring, I don't know if I told the morning group about it, but basically it said, yeah, but they can't be for the price of ETAs. They'd be interested in selling us A11s, but not for the price of an ETA. And I wrote her back. I said, no problem. We weren't looking for that. We were looking for a really quality movement. And let's see. Hey, Tony, off the rack, a stock movement like ETA, made to measure movement, made for a variety of sources, bespoke, pretty much all design and components made in-house. Hairsprings and conglomerates are a bad example. There is no way the mothership will greenlight everyone in the group investing in something as expensive as that. And that's something I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay. I do know that H. Moser sells them far more, and I mean far more, like 100,000 hairsprings versus 2,000 watches. They're going somewhere. Okay. So when you say that, I don't think that's a bad example. I really don't. I'd like to see a Swiss watchmaker advertise parts from Joe's Junkyard. Well, me too. Joe's Junkyard's got some good stuff. Rolex, Patek, and Swatch Group collaborated in a joint. Yeah, they did. That's a good example, old bud. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Lee, how's it going yourself? Daytona with Zenith. That's true. It's also the product of an era when few companies were in-house, Rolex included. Yeah. See, that was another era, but see, this is a big thing. Why? And I think Clyde had it right when he said it's like it's part of a marketing thing, is that, here they jack up the prices with this whole concept of high horology that was, Bliver and Hayek's, illegitimate child, the devil child. And that therefore justified these higher prices. And it was also meant to shut out some of the competition who was used to using other people's stuff. Now there turned out to be ways around it though, and then ETA and Swatch, I guess, really decided the heck with these guys. If they're going to use our movements, we're competing against ourselves, so let's not sell it to them anymore, which makes perfect sense. I mean, if they weren't making watches, if the only thing they were making is movements like Concepto, or that would be another thing. See, when you have a vertical organization like Parmigiani, what's the status of Vaucher? Is Vaucher a slave to Parmigiani? I don't think so. But on the other hand, did Michel Parmigiani design their movements? These are questions that I think are worth playing with. I got another question for this afternoon. I got to run now, but see, will pushing for more in-house movements then mean less parts availability? I don't know, Matt. It might. I just don't know. Is that we have, but I think it's time, and I think we ought to do this a lot, is re-examine some of our basic assumptions. In-house is good, not in-house is bad, that kind of thing, or partially in-house, not all in-house, and what does it mean, and so what? I would rather have a movement that made its, company that made all of its movement, but then bought a hairspring from Moser because they're so good. And that's also why these other companies buy it from them. The Harbring gets theirs from Haas. I don't know who Haas is, but they're one of the makers of hairsprings and balances. I don't know. Okay, guys. Well, listen. This afternoon, I want to talk about something else I've been looking for. Maybe you can help me while you're. In the meantime, if you're, I tell you, I like you. I'd rather play and looking for stuff, but I got responsibilities. Anyway, what I would like you to see if you can find is any information about the Roger Dubuis RD12 movement. Now, the reason I'm interested in it is that I can't find anything else about it. They have in at least two models of his watches, perhaps many more. They use the RD12. I think it's the RD12. Yeah. And the important thing about the RD12, it's the watches that Roger Dubuis has that have the Geneva seal. Okay. Now there's a beautiful watch. It's called with a movement called the RD 57, which is a Lamania. It's a gorgeous movement, but it can't get the Geneva seal because in order to get the Geneva seal, it's got to be made in Geneva by the company who puts it up for that. The reason that for Roger Dubuis was the whole Geneva seal thing, he worked at Patek Philippe for 14 years, I think. And so he saw that as being very important for his own eponymous watch company, Roger Dubuis. But I can't find anything else about the RD12. I've seen them for sale, not the movement, but watches with that movement, but I can't find out any good things about it. So anyway, I'm going to be, when I get my work done, I'm going to be looking for some stuff on that. If you find anything, really like to know. Okay, everybody, take care. And it's really hot and muggy here, so